You put yourself in the not only no new tax, I'm assuming no new taxes, that's a fair assumption, right?
That's correct. We do have a rainy day fund, of course.
Right, but you know, there's a split in the Republican Party about the rainy day fund. You know, the governor is on record having said now several times he believes we should not touch the rainy day fund. Mr. Pitts believes, Chairman Pitts believes that the rainy day fund should be touched simply for the purpose of eliminating the previous biennium's deficit. Mr. Hammond, the former Republican member of the Texas Association of Business, is on record saying he believes that we should take some money out of the rainy day fund to pay down some of the current biennium's deficit. And your fellow freshman, Mr. Isaacs, believes that that money should be used to offer tax relief to Texans, not to reduce the deficit, but to offer tax relief. Where do you come down on the rainy day fund?
I've always been an advocate of using the rainy day fund.
Some or all?
Some.
Some. And for what purpose?
I think that the governor's right when he says that we need to make sure that we don't use it for recurring expenses. I mean, I understand the point of that, and I think it's to be determined.
So would you be willing to use it potentially to reduce some of the current biennium's deficit, to basically stave off some of the cuts that would otherwise be necessary?
I would certainly consider that.
You would. Ms. Burkett, what do you think about the rainy day fund?
I agree with Stephanie. I think we can use part of it. I don't want to see all of it drained. I think that's unwise.
Right.
Any business, any home needs some kind of savings in reserve, and we need to have it if we should have something like a hurricane hit.
Right.
On the flip side, I think I would love to see, and I'm sure this will happen just because of the situation that we're in, some of the local reserve funds, you know, that cities, counties, schools have, those need to be used somewhat. Again, not draining any of it. I think if we all work together, and we are going to have to do cuts. And I've told that to constituents who've called. I think the original bill presented by Chairman Pitts is, I call it the shock and awe bill. Right. Because it is such a big, you know, 30 billion, that's not any of the figures that you just gave as to what is going to be the shortfall. So I think
you think it could be even worse?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. He may, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I think that I think it's really a tool to really make every agency look at their budget and see what they think they could cut, because they know better than the legislators do.
Now, you know, Ms. Burkett, maybe you know that there were several hundred mayors and city council members from cities around Texas in town this week for the Texas Municipal League's legislative briefing, and you know, those folks look like they've seen a ghost. When they think about what's going to befall them this session, they think that a lot of the cost shifting is going to roll downhill and that they're going to suddenly have to bear a whole bunch of additional costs, and yet you want them to also dip into their reserves.
I think that the reserves on all levels can be used to help us get out of the situation we're in, or at least to maintain enough for us to get to the next session where hopefully we'll have a better situation to look at.
Shared responsibility.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Mr. Anderson, what about the rainy day fund?
My thoughts are very similar to Chairman Pitts from the standpoint of using it to pay for what we've already spent. I agree with the governor in the fact that we do not need to use it for recurring expenses. All that does is kick the can down the road. That's all it does. Yeah. Because if we start using it to cover our operating expenses, we're going to be right back here 2 years from now, and I cannot justify that.
You would all agree that, per the name of the fund, if it were ever raining, it's raining now. Nobody questions whether the weather is inclement at this point.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah, we all agree about that. All right, so we all think that some of the rainy day fund should be used for whatever the purpose, but it will ultimately have the impact of reducing the amount of money that has to be found in this biennium.